through the game in that choke point, everything still looked pretty good for them.
Yeah, I think that you still need to lock. I just really like Zeri Na. Like, just pick Zeri Na, and then you're very happy. Instead, the Rise is going to come through. Priority picked here for Vikla.
Yeah, and you know what? They're just not going to pick Zeri this game.
Wow. Okay,
Rise,
so they're giving away Yuumi Zeri.
Okay, well, this is a preemptive counter to the Gnar, potentially. Now, Rise and the Renekton into a potential Gnar is very strong. Okay, taking the Lulu here early just feels like they want a little bit more information here from T1, whether it's going to be the Gnar or not, and whether it's going to be the Zeri or not.
Yeah.
Lulu very strong into a lot of different options at the moment. As it looks like Owner is, like, maybe I'm going to get my Lee Sin here. He's got to slap himself back to sense. No, we can't prioritize that pick right now. This is not what we need. We need the Zeri and we need the Gnar.
But, like, Yuumi Zeri Na? Really? This is, like, obscene. T1 get everything that they would want.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he was joking, like, can I get my Lee Sin? And they were like, I'm sorry, man. It's not going to happen this time around.
Didn't Faker say in an interview coming into the summer season that Master Yi will probably get played or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like there are so many picks that are viable at the moment. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Master Yi got played.
If there is one player besides Deft in the LCK that I trust that might be able to pull off Kog'Maw Lulu, it would be Amy right now. With how great he has been at late game scaling compositions, and if he just is willing to actually pull this one off here now, I think it would be a huge statement from him. And if they're able to also win and beat T1 here, it'd be the second team to do so. It would be amazing. But the other alternative, which was what I was going to say before they locked it in, but they locked it in faster than I could say it, is the more common Twitch response here, I think, is what KT were planning on. When it will come through here is we could have had the extreme late game slow game, could have been tank Rise, but no, going to be a little bit more tempo based here. Is Orianna is face up here for Faker, but it also is not very easy to counter just yet because you don't know what else T1 is going to be running. You have no idea what the jungle pick is.
Yeah, I do like the Orianna just because it gives more buttons to press onto Zeri. The idea with any Zeri composition is she is the main character. She is the only one that you really need to worry about. And they are going to protect her even more here with the Skarner being banned away. Cuz is going to have to play a different champion. The Lee Sin off the table. On the table. Available to be picked from either of our junglers. Might be something
banned
that,
here.
Yeah, KT could just ban it.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, never mind.
Surprising to no one, unfortunately. I mean, you wouldn't ban this against any other team, but against T1 you do.
Yeah.
So, you know, and much to the chagrin of Owner, unfortunately, as Wukong is also very strong with this Twitch pick. We've seen that be a very strong, I don't want to call it a duo, but strong combination in terms of setting up fights. You have the Lulu to knock up additionally on top of the double Cyclone, and the Twitch just does from a million miles away enough damage to take out a Zeri or anyone who's caught by that combo, so I like that ban. Might just be a Viego angle here for Cuz.
I think Poppy makes the most sense, and he will lock it in. But yeah, Cuz has been a good Poppy player, but I think denying that from Owner, putting him onto something else could be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the Poppy pick here doesn't scream strong to me because it's a Twitch Lulu lane, and obviously she has a lot of utility around mid-game skirmishes and around objective fights later on, but I think Viego would have been a lot stronger for what this comp does in terms of damage output. So it looks like Zeus will be moved off of the Gnar, very squishy when he's not in Mega Gnar in this comp, and they want a little bit more frontline. Now, Orianna, Diana, I think might be a bridge too far here.
Yeah, not my favorite. I do like the Nocturne though, because if you ever see the Twitch, if he ever comes out of his ambush, you're like, goodbye. As Carrier is playing with our hearts once again. I don't know whether it's the Master Yi angle this time around, as Nocturne is going to be locked in. What? No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, he's covering for something else. Imagine if you were trying to play Master Yi into an 80 carry that you can't Q. That would have been disastrous. As it looks like it is going to be the Gnar angle this time. With the Ornn there, it's too good of an opportunity to pass up. And Rascal will be able to harass them. They will have some power there. Later on in team fights, they have a lot of engage. Oh, I like the Gnar a lot more, but Gwen, some side lane power here.
Yeah.
And my problem with going for the Gwen is that with a Nocturne on the other side, your side laning is not going to be very strong because you will always be vulnerable to getting Nocturnal. It doesn't matter if you think it's a 1v1, it never really is because Nocturne will just get on top of you. You think you're immune, but it's Nocturne. He's inside of your mist, and he's going to be doing a lot of damage to you. He's going to Stride Breaker you, and he won't be able to get away. You can obviously macro play it and be like, it's okay, Rise is also showing up because he's got Realm War, but I don't think that relies on a lot of map control that KT won't necessarily have. I do think these are the most unique compositions we've had of the day. They're the most execution-based. It's the least like, okay, did Zeri get ahead? Okay, we win. Did she not? We fell too far behind and we lose. I think it's very much going to be throughout early to mid to even late. Going to be all about execution. Whoever has the most map control and has the best setup for team fights will be the winner. This is, I think, of the three as a result, the most skill-based draft matchup we've had in this best of three as well.
Yeah, and I think that Faker is either he's already got to the 4,000 assists or he's very, very, very close. So this might be the game, as we could break a whole bunch of records. Of course, Carrier as well. He's moving very, very close to eclipsing Beryl and making it to 2,000 as well, 2,000 and a bit. So definitely a lot of records to be broken here, but T1, they do manage to get the Zeri Yuumi this time. I think that the Yuumi is the biggest piece of the puzzle for these bottom lanes. Yuumi Twitch, very powerful. Twitch Lulu, not quite at the same level because you can't ambush and then have the cat with you. Like we saw Ruler dominate the lane with when he was playing the Twitch Yuumi. I
think it's a very weak Twitch pick. I think it's one of the weakest parts of this draft. But if it gets ahead, if it is played correctly, or if T1 make an error, very strong. And in the late game, it's still going to be very strong into Zeri, regardless of what happens early on. Going to make sure that doesn't snowball.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game to track the bottom side of the map. Let's get into it. All right, KT fans, you can hear, feeling very, very optimistic as they did manage to pick up the game number 2. But T1, very, very good at winning game 3. Wolf, they've been excellent at it. It was against Condom Freaks, the only time where game 3 was not claimed by them. As we do have confirmation, Faker has 6 assists left to make it to 4,000, and then he'll just be a hair behind Gorilla and his largest assist record in the LCK.
Yeah, I didn't hear any Joe Marsh drums just yet in the middle of a game, so I thought, you know, he probably hasn't hit it yet, because I know Joe Marsh is going to be, he's going to be playing the drums, you know?
Yeah. So we will keep track of that.
Few yordles on the KT composition as well. We saw that in the zoom in there as the Poppy and the Lulu, always a fun and strong combination. Will be unsealed here for both the Ornn and the Rise. This is how you lose games at level 1, but I don't think they will make the mistake. Nope. We have seen a lot of teams actually do this against Ruler.
Yeah, as aiming does come over and get some venom onto Gumushi here. Avoids the Q quite nicely, as we could see. But let's see how Gumushi Carrier are going to be able to navigate this one.
Yeah, press the attack here for aiming, and we'll definitely go for the Blade of the Ruin King early on to sap away some of that movement and try to snowball, this game in early to mid before we get to those later team fights. As Owner has played the Nocturne once. It was a win, but it was not about him. It was a game that I think they would have won with almost any jungle. But I think this time, it's a more critical part of their composition, especially with the Orianna here.
Yeah, definitely some ball delivery options here in a lot of different ways. As you can see, aiming, spamming that Q over and over, just ambushing as much as he can. Wants that attack speed steroid, but also just wants to keep the T1 bottom lane on their toes. Check in on the top side here as we have Rascal just snipping away at Zeus. And there we go. That's about as much top lane as we need to observe for the beginning of this game.
You can just look at the numbers of the CS and where they are on the minimap, and that's where all your questions will be answered. Meanwhile, down here, it's a lot more subtle. Like, this is the matchup that we're focusing on because it is so feast or famine. If someone gets ahead,
All right, Viklet has taken a bit of damage, but they get the flash out of Faker immediately. The flash to follow, and that is going to be the KT first blood. They trade 2 flashes for it, but they'll take that for the extra money.
Absolutely. That was a fantastic play there from Cuz and Vikla, a duo that very rarely work together like this in the early game, because Vikla has been so poor in the laning phase, especially in matchups like this, which are very much skill-based and can go either way. that you just don't see opportunities because it's like, sorry, man, I mean, you're supposed to win this one, but you're not, so I guess I'll just pass by. Maybe I'll get a flash, worst case scenario, but in this case, they just set it up. Yeah, double flash is required there as Vikla goes forward, looks for the root. They have the follow-up charge there from the Poppy from so far away that Faker just could not predict this. They had control ward vision set up in the river, as well as a deep ward there to know that owner wasn't nearby, so that's a lot of money going into Vikla's pocket as well. They had to do Faker dirty like this.
Well, I mean, Faker deciding to play the Orianna into this matchup, we've seen it so many times. We've seen it work out for like a lot of different players in different directions, right? You think of Chovy, you think of the Orianna angle, but I'll have to hold that thought as Zeus is taking a lot of damage. Owner in exactly the right position as the snips are going to come through. The fear comes down though, and Rascal is able to move himself out of the way. Owner getting distracted by a couple of different targets as Rascal somehow survives
just
at the very end of it all.
Wow, beautifully played there from Rascal. I thought he was dead for sure, but he turns around there onto Owner after Cuz buys a little bit of extra time there for the Q cooldown to come back up. They both walk out alive. Yeah, this will relieve a lot of pressure, of course, here for Zeus, so still feels like a pretty nice win for him, but he's flashless now as well. Rascal teleports back in here, will lose very little CS.
Yeah, does have that, you know, teleport down now, so if there's a return play, no ghost, no teleport, but we're going to check this play out one more time.
Into the charge here, flash for that extra damage, then the slow comes through, and it's a flash follow for the last part of the combo, though he barely has enough mana to do it, but he pulls it off.
Yep, Orianna no flash called at the end, and now for the topside play, is this, like, Cuz is just really happy that Hex flashes back.
Yeah, he really is. Cuz is just such an early game jungle player. As Zeus goes down very low, then Cuz comes over here, tries to distract Owner for just long enough. As Owner, I think if he targets Rascal here faster, probably does end up getting the kill, but I think he wanted both, got greedy, and then the Q comes back up, the lifesteal comes through, and they both walk out alive. So still a pretty nice advantage here for KT in this early game for the Rise. That is really where we're at.
Yep.
Nothing else really significant in terms of advantages. The Twitch struggling in this early part of the lane, as is expected.
Yeah, he's going to be able to even out the farm just a little bit, but with this cannon here, it's going to eat a lot of the damage from these minions, and it should be that Gumushi can get pretty close. No, isn't going to be able to get the experience or the gold from the cannon, but the rest of the minions should go over his way. So like you say, going to be able to hold on to a decent CS lead as Owner now in the area. Paranoia not available yet. Pretty close to that level 6 though.
Yeah, he is very close, as you can see the experience shown there, but Zeus is left on his own.
Yeah, no flash available. He is real dead. The Ornhorn comes through, but it's just going to run by. And so that is a free one.
Yeah, this will be a free Drake, of course, for T1, but I think the significance of a solo elemental Drake versus Rascal getting free plates here top side is way in favor of KT right now, and I think we'll get a little bit of extra farm here, but this is a huge win, and I'm loving to see Cuz when he's in his empowered state where he's unchained and unleashed, and he is just going to actually gank all game long. Like, yeah, he falls 12 CS behind at this moment in time, but it's at the expense of Rascal, you know, and finally, KT are really playing around different win conditions on the map that just, okay, is aiming ahead, is he winning? Because he's just going to naturally become stronger as Twitch, as long as Guma doesn't get too far ahead here. So, yeah, really liking this early game a lot for KT, and it's all in the back of Cuz, something we very rarely say this season.
Yeah, and I think when we do say that it's on the back of Cuz, it's often when it's his Poppy, right? Like, his Poppy just sometimes has ridiculous games. It's like him and Pyoshik. They just sometimes come out with this, with the really good Poppy angles, and it hasn't been for the last little while that we've seen it from Cuz.
Yeah, it's
definitely good to see it now. Yeah,
this series, I should say, not obviously this game, but well, I guess it is actually because it was Owner who played it last times, and like I've always been very impressed with Cuz's Volibear, his Rek'Sai, and his Poppy, you know, because these are champions. Trundle as well, honestly, for him. These are champions where you could just say, you know what, I will kill you.
Yeah.
And Cuz likes to, he's like, you know what, we're going to dive this turret. That is his playstyle. And when it's a meta that doesn't suit that, he struggles. And when he's having to babysit defensively aiming, he does fine enough, but he doesn't become the star player. It's not a POG angle. Right now, it is. Now, of course, the game is far from over, but just love to see it when Cuz is on his best.
Yeah, exactly right. He's going to find Owner here, but yeah, you're probably not going to be able to win that one. But Phase Rush is going to allow him to speed his way out. Rascal with, well, lane priority. It's going to be able to move down towards this Rift Herald. Gumushi and Keria, alongside Aiming and Life, are in this bottom side, so a 3v3 potentially available, but Vikla is going to get inside track. That should mean that KT will be able to grab some control, but Realm Warp to come on forward. The ulti's going to buy a whole bunch of time as Cuz is going to make his way out. The Ornhorn comes on through, but the Needlework is coming down and Rascal's going to pick up the kill. And now Vikla looking for even more. It's a great defensive shockwave, but I don't think that it's going to be able to get T1 the advantage, especially with Zeus dead. They should still be able to stop this Rift Herald from going down, though, and that is great news.
And Vikla's so incredibly low, but Zeri left the lane, so Aiming is just sitting on this one. And the thing is, KT, I think, don't need this Rift Herald right now. Like, it's not a requirement for them to win this, and KT now pick up an extra kill here. Control of this Rift Herald fight was theirs for so long that so many resources had to be expended. Faker's ult's down, Owner's Paranoia is down. So KT could just very comfortably push the top wave in, and then obviously force Guma to catch this bottom wave. Now let's see where this Herald does end up going and how much value it gets, because I may eat my words on this, but considering the state of the game run, great coordination set up by Cuz, picking Zeus once again. Faker has a really nice ult here defensively, and the damage he does to Vikla in this exchange, while Owner also has a nice spell shield, is what actually allows them to stop this Herald take. Also, Vikla eats a shot there from the Herald itself. So T1 not losing out massively here, but still a lot of gold now in this side lane. That is Rascal, and getting it ahead this early means that you don't just feel like, okay, it's going to be Nocturne who shuts this down. Not right now, like, not necessarily.
Yeah, and Rascal now with the wave right near his turret. You can see Keria and Gumushi moving up, though, and this was the kind of plate play that they made in game number 1 that really allowed them to move the game into the direction that they wanted. Good little knock up there as Rascal's going to dash out of the way of the final chapter.
They're rotating up.
The snare.
KT definitely want to fight for this, and the thing is, even if they don't force the full fight, if they could delay this, it's going to be plates going down to Aiming. The first turret race.
Vikla actually deciding to not head on over, does not have the Realm Warp available, is now Paranoia going to be used back onto the rise, gets the flash out of him, but T1 not able to continue getting plates there towards the top side. It's going to be equalized by Aiming on the bottom side of the map as well, as Rascal, once again, going to have to contend with a lot of members of T1 up here.
Trading a plate for a plate right now here feels very good as KT. They don't have a Herald. Vikla lost his flash for it, of course, but still okay.
All right, Aiming could be in trouble. He's not going to flash just yet. Ambush goes down. Zeus is still going to breathe on him, but the Brittle not going to get procced. He doesn't have flash, but Aiming's still going to have to get out. And Zeus should be able to claim himself a plate here towards the bottom side as well.
Yeah, solo plate here for the Ornn feels nice. As over here, Guma and Keria not going to be under the threat of death, but will not be able to be grabbing any additional plates themselves either, especially with Cuz in the vicinity. So just wave clearing this one out this is the world we live in. A lot of lane swaps, a lot of trying to get 80 carries plates, and the one that's in control actually gets to make the swap choice, as Cuz will be seen on this controller. But Zeus is really the biggest winner of this at the moment, as Vikla now has Realm Warp, but doesn't want to come over here, doesn't want to lose control of mid. It's just going to teleport back to shut Faker down, who has a pretty significant CS lead, about 20 in his favor right now. And T1 have really played this last 3 minutes of passage of play so extremely well that even though KT had such a massive lead, a lot of that has kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, well, Gumushi now in a bit of trouble here as the Needlework was coming through. Here's the Realm Warp as well. As now Vikla looks for it, finds the Q very nicely, and the ult's going to do absolutely nothing. Vikla just secures it. Gumushi underneath his turret, and the assist gold actually going over to Aiming as well, as he'd ulted off to the side. Really nicely played.
Should be some extra plates for him, and knows that T1 have to respond big here, dropping the Herald down in mid. Rascal's going to come over here, try to poke its eye out. But it will still connect here, but not a lot of gold being given to the 80 carry of Gumushi, still in the death chamber.
Yeah, and Zeus has really been allowed to come back into this game. You can see Aiming up here getting plates, but the same thing has been happening for this Ornn on the bottom side. So he's got 3, and that is why T1 are pretty close in gold. You know, it's 1.5k, something like that. But bottom lane farm has been going to the wayside here for KT.
Now, Aiming has also been getting a ton of free farm here and a lot of extra solo experience because Life has been roaming around with his teammates. I feel like you said, the biggest loser here is definitely Rascal, because the lead he had, which would have been just an insane kingdom of side lane through the mid game, he now no longer has. And I think it's quite significant because if T1, I mean, with this Nocturne pick, you can shut down the side laning pretty well, but if you're super ahead as Rascal was, you don't feel as bad about that, as they're just going to force this turret.
Yeah. This minion wave is going to go down. Faker was threatening,
Wow.
but just barely going to stay alive. And that's one last plate. They've got 10 seconds to be able to lock that one down. They might be able to get over there and take that one out, but the rest of KT are going to be rotating over. Vikla completes his crown, and so the plate is going to go to the wayside.
Stopwatch up here for Vikla as well now. So this next fight here should be the one that KT looks to try to turn these Drakes around with. Blade the Rune King done for aiming as well.
Well, Kuz is just diving on top of Gumayusi. Okay, the ult comes through, picks up the buckler and walks it out though.
Gets a cleanse for nothing really. I mean, his ultimate and Chilling Smite, so makes Guma a little bit more vulnerable for the time being. And man, this game is really on a knife's edge here because T1 are getting to the point where Guma's been farming for so long that he's going to be looking to buy a second item by the next break fight.
Faker having to deal with Rascal here, who's got a lot of needlework available. Let's see whether the Alcove Gaming's going to work out. Just the dash over is helping out here. Kuz is going to move on up, though, as the Paranoia comes in as well. Faker's going to go down. Can Owner actually trade one back? The answer's yes, as Kuz looking to make it underneath this turret and will do so. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. Faker for Rascal. Now Vikla here down towards the bottom side, just fighting against Zeus, but he'll be able to get rid of most of the minion wave and get himself out.
Yeah, you'd feel bad about this as T1 if there were plates available for Vikla to take, but he's just going to be deleting some minions here and autoing a regular turret, so not going to be too significant, but you could see the power of the accelerated Gwen here with this really fast Mythic. Just really difficult to actually punish her in a side lane, but imagine if she had just been given resources to actually continue to push that lead. They sacrificed a lot to give aiming a lot of gold here, and he hasn't been able to make the same sort of impact, unfortunately, just yet. So will be a trade of kills here. Rise also very accelerated in this game as KT.
All right, big Ornhorn. That's a flash forward just to try and get some fear off. They had the shockwave there. The triple knock-up from Zeus, though, as he's taking matters into his own hands. Aiming gets shielded up, but it's just not going to do enough. As now Kuz is running out. Rascal turns up, but he's way too late to this party. He'll pick up an exhaust on his way out, but that was basically a wipe here for T1 as they'll take Shirley as their reward.
Certified Zeri moment. Now, Guma doesn't pick up any of these kills, luckily for KT, but this is the power of these scrappy fights against a Zeri in the mid-game where, suddenly the game could just end if KT give over that gold. Guma's going to grab this plate now finally with the interim, or rather the end of the turret. Plate faded away. But man, this is a huge turning point in this game for T1. They've basically leveled up to even up the gold here, and the theory behind the play is so greedy from KT. As we watch this, Rascal, of course, in a side lane feels good until the Nocturne shows up. So he's got a timer, or he's on a timer here to kill Faker. Does pull it off here with a little bit of help. Kuz steals the kill away, which is actually pretty annoying. And that's a trade 1-for-1. As we watch this flash play here for the Ornhorn. And KT have to be aware that at this stage in time, they do not have the damage nor the CC to win this fight. The follow-up knock-up is amazing after the wild growth is there, and Rich is just out of luck.
Yeah, just amazingly done. And the fact that he made that decision in like a split second as well, absolutely amazing here from Zeus. As we've come to expect from this player, to be honest.
Yeah, 3 kills here for Owner. And it's not ideal either. Like that, you definitely want those to be elsewhere, but I mean, it's going to give him a little bit more magic resist.
Yep, you want to get some kills on Gumayusi as soon as possible here for T1. Exactly right. Faker is 2 assists away from 4,000, as we did make a slight error. Actually, no, he's 1 assist away. So we thought it was 6 at the beginning, then it was 5, and now I think it's only 4 that is required.
4 total looks like here, and he's very close to it. As aiming here now, again, starting to come online, but I think the Zeri is so much stronger at these parts of the game if everybody's grouped up for true 5v5s, which is why T1 feel amazing about starting this fight up on their terms here. No vision over the wall, but it's Zeus.
Yeah, and immediately, Kuz is going to deny Bellow's breath. Aiming's going to pop up. There's the final chapter. Ulti comes through to get rid of Zeus and the cat. It was a ult and Ornn get one free.
Bye-bye crown here for Vikla. Choke point still T1s. They've got a Zeri here. They've got an Ornn. No Ornhorn, but still with Extendo Beam, I just don't see any way here for KT. Realm Warp attempt.
Yeah, we are just going to reposition KT here as the Drake is going down low. Here's the engage onto Zeus. He's probably okay with that as the Shockwave lands onto 3. They do manage to take it away, and Cuz steals the Drake. Owner's going to fall down as well, as now Vikla taking a lot of damage. Gumushi standing his ground, but he has to flash to get himself out of the way. And KT just come in and take all of T1's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, too, like the build here from Owner, he's not that survivable. And without an Ornhorn, Zeus also flashless here in the fight. Is just kind of left out to dry. Faker's follow-up ultimate is amazing, but the Drake is stolen away, and the damage is there for the Rise, who's very far ahead in this game. And you know, he didn't even have to stopwatch there. It's a clean team fight win for KT, and they stopped T1 from putting themselves on Soul Point here. I think if additional kills had gone over to Guma in that fight and not the Nocturne, I think he has enough damage to maybe turn this one around. As the Realm Warp here, it's like, okay, seems optimistic. Zeus is just completely left out to dry here. Look at Guma. He's just a little bit too timid to actually go into range of this Twitch because he knows that they're still trying to hold Drake aggro. They lose the Drake, so his sacrifice is not in vain. Does have to flash his way out of here. And things are looking now very good for KT in terms of map control, in terms of speeding this game up a little bit. And I'm worried about the side laning angle here too, because yeah, Owner went Stridebreaker and he can shut this this Gwen down eventually, but Rascal's starting to really get out of control.
Yeah, he is. This is actually a very similar looking, you know, gold totals for what Zeus has been doing to Rascal all series. This time around, it's Rascal that does manage to get the edge. Of course, his team played around him a whole lot more this time, and his Gwen is going to be an absolute menace as this game continues. 3-0-3 onto Vikla as well. Like, man, this guy's had a fantastic game. That last Realm Warp was honestly, like, almost game, like, it was fight winning, but it might have been, like, backbreaking for T1.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, too, is if KT botched that engage and, like, say Zeus had held on to his Ornhorn, you Realm Warp like that, you actually might have just given Zeri 3 kills and the game could have ended there. As well. So it was a really high-risk play from KT, but they kept track of the ultimates really well. They knew that T1 needed to force that Soul Point, and Runins is done for aiming now. That's a huge spike for this Twitch in terms of straight-up 5v5 team fighting. I was talking about before, Zeri was definitely the stronger AD carry in a true, you know, fair 5v5 fight, let's say. Where you're not holding Drake aggro now, you know, it kind of goes the other way.
Ooh, Shockwave is going to be collected there by Rascal. Faker wanting to get a quick kill onto life, but he flashes to get himself out of the way. Still, high value as Zeus on a flank angle here. Bellows Breath and the Ornhorn available here as in goes aiming, just frontlining on the Twitch. Owner almost dead, Faker almost dead as T1 are still running away from KT, but they still win out on the trade. As far as the kill, but the health bar is definitely low on T1's side.
Yeah, they grab a kill, but they lose the fight, which in the long term means that they win because they get the extra gold there. It's unfortunate again an assist for Guma and not a kill, but so close to basically getting a double there was aiming, and if he actually is able to land that, I mean it's super close here. Then this is a completely different story, and I think the lack of vision here on the Ornn was really what actually ended up being a disaster here for KT. If they know Zeus is there, they just turn on him and kill him, and there is nothing T1 could do. But that control ward that T1 have in the brush that Zeus stands on is massive value, because he is able to turn this into a kill. They end up winning that defensive trade of like kills, I guess, because like they lost the team fight in terms of health bars, but luckily for KT, there's no objective for T1 to take to further this lead after that death of aiming.
Oh no, manages to go back. T1 secure vision around the Baron. It's been alive for 2.5 minutes, and we know that both of these teams definitely very keen to fight around a Baron. As I still just feel like we haven't quite had that fight that tells us who's going to be able to take this. I think so much is on Zeus's shoulders with the ultimate, as Faker only needs one more assist in order to get that 4,000. We'll see whether that's going to be in a game-winning fight here.
Some of the AP ratios that were changed for Gwen make her go for the death cap a little bit earlier, so that's why you see this build here for Rascal. Even though it's not going to help him in the side lane, we don't see as much on this patch of the Dasher's Tooth. But, you know, Void Staff, I think, would have been another really strong choice considering the double force of nature that's going to really hurt his damage. Not only in the side lane, but in these straight-up 5v5 team fights, where you can see he's now just chunked out by Faker here, who's got a ton of damage to this Luden's build.
Yeah.
And so suddenly it feels like Rascal no longer really a big threat here, neither in side lane nor in team fights here, as T1 have a 2.5 item Zeri, and always got to keep track of Faker's ult, Zeus' ult, these two tools that can just straight up win T1 a team fight, regardless of Zeri. Could be any AD carry if those go off. So KT have to play so respectfully. And they have, I don't think, any vision on Baron here, but they just know that the T1 aren't doing, at least have the, okay, I'm wrong, they do have one ward in the pit there.
Yeah, in the back of the pit. I don't know whether that's shut off by the control ward or not, but KT still feel very happy to take down the Drake, and T1 not too worried about a second Ocean Drake at this point in time. It's going to be the next patch where we're kind of feeling better about it. But right now, Ocean Soul, not exactly the highest priority.
I feel like T1, you know, it's a really cool recall animation here. I feel like T1 might have actually been able to threaten a Baron there and force a poor team fight there for KT ROLSTER, but think better of it. Decide not to. Zeri, 2.5 items, not 3. Not in a place where she's really going to be a heavy hitter unless all of the engage goes well. So would have been fairly risky, especially without vision of where KT was.
And 3 items for both of these AD carries is going to be an absolutely huge spike. It means that when aiming, just decides to open up on T1. Maybe he gets 2 kills, right? With that initial burst of the spray and pray. But he goes back, just gets a pickaxe. And it looks like it might be Infinity Edge third. I really do like Gale Force third on Twitch, just because I think that Mythics are kind of valuable.
Yeah, also like the extra execute damage when you're trying to assassinate either the Orianna or the Zeri here. Like, closing the distance on them is massive, but also, you know, sometimes the execute there could just be so valuable. I love the Warmogs here for Cuz, because he's going to be trying to eat a lot of that early damage, then retreat in neutral fights, and then just heal back up and then come back in. Like, if he can eat Faker's ult, that is a massive opportunity to really swing the tides of battle if KT can weather the storm while he heals back up. Easier said than done, of course.
Yeah, Rascal actually dashing over. This could be dangerous positioning as Faker and Zeus trying to fight this one out. Steadfast Presence is in there, and Cuz gonna have to put that Warmogs to work here, and should be able to do so as KT lose control of the mid lane. They do still have a lot of wards in the Baron pit though. And as we continue the K-Ram, it's feeling like T1 are starting to get into the groove, find some of these angles. As Cuz is just going to get back to full health, and him and Rascal are going to start off this Baron.
KT starts this off, Realm Warp.
Classic Realm Warp.
Okay, they're seen though.
Yeah, everyone is known. Half the health bar on this Baron as Owner is in the area. It's going to be a flip if they do decide to go for it, and KT not feeling happy about that situation, as T1 are going to say thanks for the leash as they pick up the Baron.
Cuz has flash. Got to be so careful about this. He's got ult as well.
Yeah, all information going to be available. T1 can cause a ruckus though. They can try and deny as they do just back away. Both teams had a bit of a go with the Baron, and both teams decide that it's not worth the risk.
This game is so incredibly close that just one team wipe probably gives you enough control of the game if you get Baron with it too, that you just walk down, take inhibitors out, and map control is yours for the rest of the game. If not, just the game ends there. Because you're starting to get to the point where everybody is well and truly fed and online. So I like the decision of both teams to not just 50-50 this game and walk away. And we will go back to the lull state, which I know is very boring to watch. But at least if you're a fan of one of these two teams, you know it won't just be a coin flip that decides it all.
As Rascal is actually in a lot of trouble. He is going to be immune though, as Gwens generally are.
They get the ult out of Owner as well with this.
Yeah, actually.
I think that's actually a pretty amazing trade for Rascal. It's just like, all right, I mean, you guys really wanted to get me, but you certainly will not.
Might give a little bit of a window to KT.
Yeah, it's not going to be the ult that decides, like, KT, you're like, all right, cool, Nocturne ult's down, we can fight this. But this is pretty significant.
Yep. Did you see, by the way, Gumyushi just completed his Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge.
They do not know where Cuz is.
Yeah, well, Faker does, as he's just going to sprint out of there. Steadfast Presence and Phase Rush, pretty decent combo as far as running fast is concerned.
Having a ward in that pit is really massive here for KT. The Drake, Drake and Baron pits, they had a lot of vision of her in this neutral fight here as the Drake is about to spawn. They don't want to lose a trade.
Cuz heroically charges on top of Gumyushi. He's not going to be able to dash his way out because of the Steadfast Presence, but he is able to flash, does get himself to relative safety. Now Faker flashing forward, running forward, actually finds the shockwave, gets a flash out of life, and Cuz is able to walk it out. As we are going to see some buttons, but not so much anything deciding here unless you count an inner turret going down for Rascal.
Yeah, that death cap really doing some extra value in terms of the autos here. As Rascal has a flank angle he can come on here with his ultimate with aiming, of course. The biggest ultimate down is his. KT ROLSTER looking to try to collapse on this.
Yep, they have a lot of vision available, but this Baron has not a lot of health bar as the paranoia does come through. Now KT going to try and coordinate the Baron that's going to go down, but can T1 win the team fight as Rascal going down very, very low? Cuz just knocks into a wall and isn't going to be able to do too much more. He is likely to fall down as Gumayusi gets his first kill of the game. Faker gets the 4,000 assists. And T1 take a Baron and win a fight.
That should be them taking control of the inside of KT's base as well. Life.
Oh, he's going to get knocked up. That is Seafood for T1, given the particular skin choice there of the Lulu.
It was so massive when aiming ulted in that last skirmish in mid, and Guma didn't. So he gets to take away the Twitch ultimate going into a big critical fight while still maintaining his. And that's a Zeri who, you know, has an Infinity Edge, like you said, hit it right then and there. Now has been given the upgraded Immortal Shield Bow too. That's going to be Soul Point going over to T1, and they have full control over this map. This might have just been the backbreaking moment here for KT, because yes, they have this strong side laning Gwen, but they won't be able to use it safely anymore once Owner's ult is back up, which is, you know, going to be very soon here. And I think he was trying to hope for a siege of this turret.
Well, Zeus is going to turn up. Aiming completed Kraken Slayer, so it wasn't the Infinity Edge like I inferred it could be. So instead, he's going to complete the Mythic. Not exactly going to give him the extra survivability of a Gale Force, but does give him a lot more damage. As we have a look at this fight one more time.
Yeah, this is just, unfortunately, for KT ROLSTER. They're not in the vicinity to actually do the damage. Look at how much Guma does in the neutral before KT even consider engaging. And by the time they do, it's like, oh, well, guess what? Hits a Zeri, you guys are all low on health, Twitch has no ult. Like, aiming did literally less than 0 damage in this fight. He just doesn't have his ult, can't be close enough to T1 on a turn, or he will just be obliterated.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same speed or mobility that a Zeri does.
And then Life, once again, having the Lulu experience like he did in game number 1, just going down as soon as a T1 member looks at him. And now, T1, after being down in gold for the majority of this game, are going to hit a gold advantage and should be able to use this Baron buff to extend it even further. They still have 1 more minute. As Cuz, he ulted. He's going to get that refunded just a little bit because he didn't actually use it. But he's not going to be able to defend that inner turret. As Owner wrapping around.
There should be an inhibitor here. KT just don't have the damage to follow up on this. If aiming ults here, you also have lost that tool once again. And Owner is just hanging out like, are you guys going to try to collapse? I'll turn the lights off.
Yeah, just keeping on threatening. His paranoia has been so valuable so far. And especially when you have an advantage. Yep, like you say, the inhibitor turret's going to go down. Inhibitor to follow, as Shockwave is not going to find aiming, who manages to sprint his way out. And now a Realm Warp to come on forward. Vikla just kind of, Rascal by himself. As Aiming's trying to do damage, but Zeus just denying him completely. Now Aiming's able to try and kite this one out as Owner goes golden. Aiming's still alive for now, but the rest of his team is evaporating. And KT will unfortunately fall to maybe a pentakill for Gumayusi. T1 say goodnight to the telecom war with over 4,000 assists on Faker and the second pentakill of the season against the man that got the first one.
Beautiful play from Guma there in the end, but at the end of the day, it's KT losing map control for just 1 second. Not being able to take the Baron, not having that critical aiming ultimate there on the Twitch. In the last fight, you see they're trying to, as they roam more forward, knock the Ornn away, because without the Ornn frontline, maybe the Twitch actually has enough freedom of damage to actually pop off there. But it's Bellow's Breath that stops the Poppy ult from knocking him away. Not a very strong engage opportunity there for KT. And then, you know, Aiming's like, I'm trying to pop off, I'm trying to do the damage. And Guma's like, Rune and Hurricane, that's my kit. That's what I do. I bounce the damage, I AoE everybody, and I have the better items.